Hey class. Yeah, it's week 2. I just wanted to go over the week 2 iLab. Be sure to always read the announcements. As here I have a list of the possible artists. You need to choose from this list. So they're right here. And the reason why is that a lot of students end up not choosing a famous artist, or they just choose any random artist. And the idea is that we also want to learn something about art history and about the artist. So here's the list, and they're actually really great work. So you're going to basically import the image, and then you're going to recreate it with the tools in Illustrator. You need to use as many tools as possible, not just the shape tools. This is kind of what you're graded on. It doesn't have to be perfect, but you do have to use a lot of the tools. So that's something to really think about. We're not using any of the live tools, the tools that kind of do it for you. So you need to do this yourself. So yeah, you don't want to have to redo it. So try to make a good attempt the first time. So basically, yeah, there's this clarification here. I can tell that people don't read the announcements because I always get the same. I get questions that are covered in the announcements. So be sure to read them. They're just there to help you. And in last week, I graded everything. Some people didn't post the .ai file, or they didn't post the JPEG file. You need to post both and put them in a single folder with your name and zip it. You also need to name your files correctly. So be sure to open the gradebook and read what I wrote in there, so you know not to keep making a mistake. I didn't deduct any of those points this week, but next week there will be a point deduction for not following the directions, and all this is in the directions. Okay, so these are the artists, and so just to so this is one reason why I'm making a list. This is what happens, with students. They pick the most simple thing, like a Mondrian, and that's just going to be returned. But he's not on the list, so you can't choose him. So, and if you have a question, just email me or grab me on Google Hangouts. So this is Juan Miró. This is a really good example of a degree of complexity. This is Keith Haring, also on the list. Salvador Dali, which is also on the list. These are from last semester. Diego Rivera, also on the list. Picasso. So anyway, the list has a lot of good stuff. So just to really give you a pretty easy tip about how to approach this, if you go to Google and you do an image search. So let's say I do, I don't know why the map came up. I hate that. Okay, so I chose Paul Gauguin, and he's a really pretty famous artist from, I don't know, kind of not quite 100 years ago. But so if you put his name in there and then do images, you're going to get a lot of his artwork. So what you can do is just look to see which one you want to do, and then make sure it's from him too, because sometimes you'll get images that aren't. So let's say you choose this one. He did a lot of stuff in the South Pacific. So you can choose, which one you want and recreate it. So again, you don't want to do something super complex. Let's see. This one's pretty simple. And again, you don't have to create a masterpiece here. It's just, this is really a tool exploration. So let's say we do, Salvador Dali. And you're going to see how it's broken down. I mean, this is his photograph. So he's got his clocks. He's got all these different things he did. Some of the clocks, I showed you the image from that student. Some of them are kind of complicated, but you could do a detail of one. This is really not that complicated. So you could do something like this. I wouldn't do. He's got some really complicated ones. This is the one the student did before. So another thing that needs to, Pablo Picasso is always the one that everyone chooses because that's who they know, right? But it really will help if you learn some other artists. So I would choose one that you didn't know. Be sure to write a few things down. Make sure that it's really Picasso, because this is not Picasso. This is somebody, it's kind of inspired by Picasso. Make sure you have a real Picasso image or you're going to be told to resubmit, okay? So part of this is doing research too. You know, he's got all his cubism stuff, you know, so again, this is pretty complicated, but just mostly a lot of straight lines, which are a lot easier if you don't know how to use the pen tool or the other tools. So another thing, when you do find the image, be sure to keep it. Well, you're going to import it into Illustrator. There's directions on how to do that. Then you're going to, you know, put it on the bottom, and you're going to be, you know, creating layers on top of it. So when you find the artist, be sure to find something about the artist, because next week in the discussion, we're going to be sharing these images, and we're going to be writing something about the artist. It's a requirement. So make sure to just kind of note some things about the artist. And again, you know, you can use the internet, but be sure to use your own words. I do put stuff in Turnitin, so don't, you know, copy paste will get you a letter from the dean and stuff. So you don't want to ever directly copy and paste stuff, because you just don't want to, you know, get the warning letter, because DeVry takes it pretty seriously. Okay, so again, be sure to read all the announcements. That's really important. There's a lot of, I mean, I post announcements, and, you know, like this one, correctly submitting work to the Dropbox. And, you know, it's really cool. About half of you did it right, probably more than half, probably about 3/4, but a lot of people didn't still. They didn't name it correctly. They didn't submit their AI file. They didn't zip some people didn't zip. And again, it's not a problem at all in the first week, but next week you just definitely want to do it right. And the reason why you want to do it right is, number one, all DeVry classes have the same procedure, and some instructors won't even accept revisions. I accept revisions most of the time if there's a good effort being made, but many instructors don't. So be sure to get it right. I'm pretty flexible, but a lot of them aren't. And the next reason is you have to really think of you know, your classwork is that you're working for a client. So when you go into the iLabs here, or the skill builders, okay, I'll just look at the iLab for, oh, it's taking forever to load, isn't it? Darn. For example, the iLab for this week, you know, when you click, you know, over in the iLab tab, right? So just really have a look at all the instructions. It tells you they're step by step, and it tells you, you know, finding and importing the graphic, blah, blah, blah. Recreating that, goes over how to put the, you know, how to put the image in there. Okay, and then we have the save part, and it tells you exactly what to do here. And then it tells you right here how to submit. And there's also this file about how to do it. And if you go into the left sidebar, Illustrator videos, there's a bunch of videos as well. So again, they're taking forever to load, but there's, oh, here they are. These are all videos, and there's one right there, saving and exporting a file. So again, be sure to really go over this stuff. I mean, at first I'm pretty flexible and I'll let you resubmit, but when it gets really busy, I don't have time to regrade a lot of stuff, and we don't have to, and most instructors don't. So don't just assume that you could submit something that's not your best work and then you're going to be able to redo it, because I allow that a little bit, but if I see a student doing it every week, I will not allow it, as I'm not required to, and it does take a real lot of time. Okay, so anyway, yeah, so the main thing, just read the announcements and read my posts and stuff, and I also post, like I say, a lot of important stuff in here, like in this README thread. So be sure to read these too, because and you know, they have you know, important stuff, like again the painting recreation stuff. Okay, so anyway, I hope you found this useful, and it's really I really look forward to seeing your painting recreations, and you guys are doing really great so far. So yeah, be sure to check the gradebook for your you know, week 1 skill builder. Okay, have a good day.